Welcome back to my channel, guys. So join me as I dive into the fascinating world of worker bees and challenge ourselves to uncover exactly what these little creatures do all day. Welcome again, guys. So today we will be talking about the worker bees, right? So what is a worker bee? Worker bees are females and they are unable to lay fertile eggs. They're the one that does all the work inside the hive. Like for instance, wax building, storing food and eggs. They do the like cleaning, foraging, like hunting food from pollen and nectar, and they feed like the other bees. Like for instance, they will be the ones feeding the drones and the queen and the eggs, the larvae that's hatched from the eggs. So basically, the worker bees, they are ever busy, and they are the bees that most time you look outside, you'll see a bee, most likely it's a worker bee, as they are always outside hunting. And one of the things about the worker bees are during busy season, they will live longer, right? They will live maybe like 2 months during like a summertime, but normally their lifespan is very short compared to winter time, because winter time they can live much longer, because during that season there's not too much things to do more than huddle themselves together and try to survive during that time. So they won't be outside to get caught by anyone, any insect, any predators or other stuff like that, or just crash and die, you know. So they will start off as nurse bees, right? Once they're hatched and once the egg is laid and they're hatched, then they move on to the first chores to become a nurse bees. And from becoming a nurse bees, that's where the nurse bees are the ones that tend to the queen and doing like the feeding, right? Because they produce a special kind of thing that they call royal jelly and different kind of wax. So as I was saying, worker bees receive royal jelly for a shorter time, and then their diet switch onto pollen, a mixture of pollen and honey, and that is often called the bee bread. That's what they call the bee bread, you know, the mixture. So the nurse bees diligently prepare these things, right? They take the time and they mix the honey with pollen, and that's what they use to feed the young larvae and keep going, ensuring that they get the right amount of nutrients to develop, right? So basically, nurse bees are more like a caregiver to the younger bees. They're responsible, making sure that these young babies grow and they are comfortable, well fed, and it is very essential for them to survive, you know. That's one of the things of the first role of the worker bees. So now we'll move on down and talk about another role, which is the hive maintenance and wax building, right? And this is another important, very important role, because this task is performed also by the worker bees, right? Wax building is performed by the worker bees also, but it's usually performed by slightly older ones. So once they become a nurse bees and they grow older, then they move up to another role. So it's like stages. So the next stage from nursing, feeding and all these things is to become like a wax builder and maintaining the hive. So one of the tasks is temperature regulation that they do after being a nurse bees. And this is very important. I keep stressing on it because these roles are very vital for the survival of the hive, right? And the hive, they try to keep it at a specific temperature, which is really comfortable, and this temperature, they try to stabilize it like at 95 degrees Fahrenheit or 35 degrees Celsius, right? This is crucial for the growth of the young one, the broods. For the larva, it can't get too cold or it can't get too hot, right? So these are the things that the worker bees does. They try to keep the hive on a temperature which is stable, like 35 degrees Celsius, and that temperature they regulate it at that in that zone, because that's good for it's good for honey storage, because during hot weather they will fan their wings to create like an airflow and it cools the hive, right? They might even bring water from outside, and that water they use to help in the process of cooling. So in colder times, they bundle together or cluster together, and that's what they use to generate heat. But we talk about all those things later down again, but just touching on these things because it takes like a real team effort to make it work, right? So it's not just like one set of thing and everybody doing their whole thing. Everybody have their specific roles and everybody know what they're supposed to do and they just do it. And everything come together and just work as a colony. So the next part of it is cleaning, right? And a clean hive is a healthy hive. Remember that. And worker bees, they are meticulous cleaners, extremely careful and thorough when they're cleaning. It's not just like tidying up, you just here, there, and the little stuff. And no, with the bees, everything have to be perfect, right? Because they take cleanliness really vital to their survival. So it's very important for them. So a dirty hive can quickly become like a breeding ground for disease, fungus, parasites, and all these things, which become harmful. And with these things, it could wipe out the entire colony within no time. So the worker bees know that 101, so they do it. They make sure, say, it's very clean. So when they're doing their stuff, they make sure that the dead bees, they remove them. Debris and other foreign objects that's inside, they take them out. And these are some of the stuff that the worker bees does. And these things help to stop the spread of disease. And you have special bees that does these assignments. Some of the bees, they know that their duty is to bring out the dead. And they bring out the dead. Some of them know they have to bring out the debris. That's what they do. And some of the stuff that they can, if it's too heavy for them to take it outside, they will put wax and mold it, like cover it and tomb it and let it stay right there. But they make sure when they tomb that one, it's just like, oh, you bury someone in the ground and they put him inside that box and you seal it and you put concreting and whatever and close it up that nothing can go inside and nothing come outside. That's how they do it. So it's like a tomb. And those are just some of the stuff that the worker bees does in cleaning. So now we'll just move on to wax building, right? And wax production, that's where the worker bees have special glands in their abdomen that produce wax scales, right? And these kind of stuff, that is what they chew. They chew these scales and mix it with their saliva, and that's what they use to do their construction, right? So they mix the wax scale with their saliva by chewing it until it becomes wax, and then they use that as like a paste and shape out everything. One of the things that they build is like honeycomb. They use that wax in honeycomb construction, right? So they use the wax to build honeycomb, and it is like a structure in the hive. And that's what they use for storage of things. For example, like the food and the young ones, all these things stored inside each cell, right? And it is made, the honeycomb is made up like hexagon cells. So with that, it is much easier and stronger for them, stronger for storing. It saves them a lot of space. Because if it was like a round thing, just picture you drawing like circle, there's gonna be gaps in between. But because it's like a hexagon, each one connect to each one, and they build those things with specific dimension. And everyone, if you look at it, you'll see the cells, and everyone look the same. The drones much bigger, but each one very unique. And in these honeycomb, they store food, which is honey, pollen, and they store the broods, the young broods, the eggs and all these things. That's what they lay, right? And it's more easier for them, and it's much easier for them, right? Because the hexagon shape, it uses the least amount of wax, making it a very economical design. They save space and uses less wax. And the next part of it is the capping of the cells, or they call it capping honey. So once the honey is ripe and ready to be stored, that's what they do. The workers build wax again and they cap those cells. And when they seal those cells, the honey they protect it from moisture, protect it from contamination. Anything that once they seal it is just like a package. When you have food, they put it in a package and you seal it. That's what they do. They put the honey inside and they seal it and let it store, because they store those kind of. So hive maintenance and wax building, right, are very essential for the survival for the honeybee colony. So worker bees are always constantly working to keep the hive clean at the right temperature and just maintain that everything runs smoothly. And the ability to produce and manipulate wax is the key part of the process. So to build and maintain the honeycomb that is so vital to their life, worker bees have different tasks, and it's very good, for storage and all these things. So the next part we'll talk about right now is guarding and protecting the hive. This is a very crucial job, and it is really handled by specialized group of worker bees. So the guard bees, aka the gatekeepers, right? They are the one that take up strategic position at the hive entrance, right? They're like some bouncers at a club, you know, carefully looking out and checking out everyone that comes in, you know. So what they do something like a scent check, and with that they smell to see, they can quickly identify if a bee is of their own colony or it's an intruder. And any bees that doesn't have that smell, or it's like an unfamiliar smell, they will challenge him, and that's how they will become aggressive. So guard bees they can become very aggressive at the front or in the hive. It all depends on the time and whatever is going on, right? And they're just ready to defend, more like an army. If you look at like an army, if there's certain things going on and they say there's war, they call up the army. That's how the worker bees are. And the guard bees, that's their duty. They are like the army of the honeybee colony. So they're ready to defend their home. So if an intruder, for example, like a bees from a different hive or a wasp or even a large animal tries to enter, they will defend. And those guard bees, they will make the sacrifice and attack. So they can detect threats. And if they detect any kind of threat, they will release as like a special pheromone, right? And that special chemical that we're talking about, that give they use for different signals. Like when they release that one, you'll know that, yeah, definitely it's a threat. And other bees in the hive will smell it and know, say, oh, we're under attack, or there's an invader, or there's someone trying to come in, or someone trying to steal our honey or something. But they know that it's time to defend, and they will prepare themselves for defend the hive at any cost. And that's why guard bees is very important, because they protect the hive from honey theft. Because bees from other hive might try to steal their honey, and that's where the guard bees comes in, and they prevent those kind of robbery. They prevent it from happening. As I tell you, they're just like a army, or you say like a police force or something, but they defend the hive from pests. Because if ants or even wasps or any other insect that might try to go inside, invade them, or try to go inside to lay, trying to steal their honey, their pollen, or even to lay their eggs inside, those guard bees will come into effect, and they will get that pest out. Either they sting them, use their stinger, and do what they have to do. They're very, 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 very important. Very, very important. And another thing is, if a sick bees from another hive trying to enter into their hive, those guard bees will not stop until they stop that bees and protect the health of their hive, because they know that, oh, so you're sick, where are you going? You can't come inside. We don't want any sick bees here. So they will stop them and try to get them out. And whatever it takes, they will do to protect their hive, because protecting the health of their colony is one of their main role as guard bees. And that's where that's also a worker bee, right? So it's very dangerous for them, and they know, but everyone has a task, right? Just like we as humans we have different people. Sometimes you'll say, oh, those are first responders, and you have the army here, and different people doing different roles. The honeybee colony is the same thing. They have different bees doing different roles, right? And the next task of the worker bee is foraging, right? One of the tasks, right? And foraging bees are worker bees. They are the worker bees that venture out of the hive to collect nectar and pollen, right? And these things are like essential food for the bee, right? And so foraging, so the forager bees, those bees are the bees those are the older worker bees, right? Because as I told you earlier on, the younger bees, nurse bees, it's like stages, right? So it goes to the reach, to the final, like that's one of the final stage. And only the older bees really go outside to do foraging, like hunting, scouting, right? those guys, the older bees, right? So they will go outside, search for pollen, just be on the hunt for food. And when they find the food, then they bring it back to the hive. And when they come back to the hive, they have this thing that they call the waggle dance. They will let other ones know where exactly the food is located with that special dance. And it depends on the kind of food and how far it is and all these things. So that dance will tell you about it. And the forager, they don't live too long because it's a very demanding job, right? A demanding task for the honeybee, right? Some of them crash and die. Some of them get eaten by predators like birds and all these things. Sometimes the forager bees may come back going hunting water and all these things, may drown. So it's a very demanding thing. So most likely some of them, once they reach that older stage, they will take maybe like 2 to 3 weeks and die, you know, from hard work, hard labor. And they'll go from plant to plant searching for pollen and nectar. You know, they have those special basket things on their back leg that they store food and things. And they basically scout, bring it back to the hive, trade it off to other worker bees, like the receiving bees, and those guys will receive it and process it. So most time, like for instance, nectar. The honeybees will take the nectar from the one that's bringing it in, from the forager, and bring it to the hive. That one will receive it, and basically they chew on it and chew that one, and then they pass it on. So it's like a process. They pass the nectar from one bee to the next bee to the next bees, and each one add their own saliva or thing to it, and that's the whole process. That's how they make honey. But we'll talk about the process of making honey deeper down. But the foragers bring all those good stuff, the sweet nectar from the plants and the pollen back. And as I told you, it's a very demanding job for them. So we'll talk more about those things now. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy it and learn something about the honeybee, because they're so important to us. So like the video, share, and subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for the next video. And we'll be talking about maybe like something like pollination, you know, that fascinating thing. I'll continue. So comment if you have anything to say. Let us know what's going on. Yeah, bless up.